Well, hello and welcome to the Shifts in Pucks news pack for Tuesday, October 11th. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Shifts in Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts in Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts in Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts in Pucks. You can subscribe wherever you get your audio. You can also find us on the Area 51 Sports Network. As we're back, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Long weekend here, and we're back as we are preparing for really the start of the regular season happened when the Sharks and the Predators played a couple of games in Europe. But so the regular season has started, but the North American part gets going tonight. We'll get into a couple of games. The Calgary Flames made some roster and made some news over the weekend as well. We'll touch on that. The Vancouver Canucks as well. But we have to start with Hockey Canada. That is the big story in hockey today, as they, this weekend during the Game 2 Mariners Blue Jays ball game, Rick West had treated that Andrea Skinner submitted her resignation as interim chair of Hockey Canada. And it is announced today that Scott Smith and the entire leadership team has stepped down. Just read from the statement. The Hockey Canada Board of Directors has announced important changes to Hockey Canada's leadership team. Effective immediately, announced the departure of Chief Executive Officer Scott Smith. The entire board has also agreed to step down to make room for a new slate of directors. A new interim management committee will be put in place, which will guide the organization until no later than a newly constituted board appoints a new CEO to lead the organization. And so that is where that's just the start. And it ends with Hockey Canada will continue to provide public updates on these important changes, as well as to continue to work towards implementing its ongoing action plan. Ministry of Sport Pascal St. Onge also had released a statement here a couple of hours before we did this recording, and just we'll find that here in a second. But that this call was coming for most of the summer as we headed into the hockey portion of the year. Something needed to change, and of course another very difficult and just a very frustrating set of questions here from Hockey Canada in the last hearing with the standing committee. It just consistently got more frustrated, and now this is where we are at this particular point, and we'll see what other news has happened. We saw Bauer has announced that it's pausing its role as equipment provider for Hockey Canada's men's team. So this is kind of where we're at this particular, there's still going to be a fallout. There's still going to be a lot of change. Sports Minister Pascal St. Onge said yesterday that there needed to be an overhaul, and she got that here, and this is what we'll wait for the next steps here, and who it is, how it looks. And I just, from my perspective, would like to see maybe this takes some time. Maybe we put some thought into what we look at here. I don't think that we need to find everybody right away. And we'll, as we read the statement here from Pascal St. Onge. Hockey Canada's board of directors has made the right decision. The resignation and the CEO is a step toward restoring Canadians' confidence in the organization. While we welcome this news, the interim management committee must be up to the people who want to make real change. We expect Hockey Canada to actively work towards a team whose expertise will contribute to better support and training for players and an environment exempt from sexual violence and discrimination. Hockey Canada must develop not only exceptional athletes, but also good citizens who respect women, the public, and the law. The case of Hockey Canada shows that the governance and leadership of national sports organizations determine the way cases of sexual violence, abuse, and other forms of maltreatment are managed. This is why I'm determined to continue to work with partners, including athletes, to reform sport in Canada so that every organization we finance becomes more transparent and accountable. So that's from Pascal St. Ange. So that's the news that we are working with today, and we'll continue to keep our eye on that situation here. And so we'll move ourselves into some hockey, but we do need to touch on with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Ian Cole. Some very disturbing allegations were posted on Twitter from someone here in regards to as I mentioned, some very serious issues here. She identified the Twitter user identified herself as Emily Smith, and she said that she was sexually abused and groomed by Cole when she was a minor, and so the Tampa Bay Lightning have suspended Ian Cole. Cole will be interviewed by the NHL Chief Security Officer Jared Maples on Wednesday, and of course, and that is where we are at that point. It's going to evolve. The NHL and the NHLPA will be there, and that is where we're at that particular point in time here. So some very heavy things to start our NHL kind of as we're getting into the hockey season. So let's just take the breath here, and we can continue on here as well as we start the national hockey. As mentioned, we're starting the regular season, North American part of the regular season here with 2 games tonight. The Tampa Bay Lightning, the Eastern Conference champion, taking on the New York Rangers, and a Eastern Conference final rematch, a matchup of 2 of the best goalies in the National Hockey League, and some significant interesting moves there. Vincent Trocheck joining the Hurricanes. We've got Ryan McDonough out from Tampa Bay to Nashville. So we'll see where everybody is at there with these 2 teams and where they're at. I think they have higher expectations coming into the year. The Rangers probably snuck up on some teams last year. Won't be the same as much this year, but so we'll see what's going on there. And then you've got tonight Vegas, who this wasn't the year that last season wasn't the year that Vegas wanted. So they're a full season with Jack Eichel, lots of questions all over the place. Bruce Cassidy making his coaching debut with Vegas, taking on the Los Angeles Kings, who really did give the Oilers a bit of a run here in the first round, bringing in a Kevin Fiala, a healthy Drew Doughty to start the year. So we'll see where they're at as well. So those are the 2 games today. But let's get to the Calgary Flames. As, of course, they announced the Mackenzie Weegar extension on Friday. They announced the Daryl Sutter extension on Tuesday. And then they lost Juuso Valimaki, was claimed on waivers by the Arizona Coyotes. According to Tree Living on Sportsnet 960 today, he said that the Arizona was the only team that put a claim in Valimaki. They tried to trade Valimaki, and there was no option there. And then in terms of what happened here today, Michael Stone back with the Flames, officially signed a 1-year, 2-way deal, $750,000. And Don't think it's much of a surprise that Michael Stone is back. I think that people knew that this was going to happen. It just comes down to where that 6th, 7th defenseman is at this particular, where you're looking at this particular point in time. Nicholas Blanche, who they brought in the off season on waivers, on free agent, is on waivers today. Maloche, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. Pardon me. And Connor Mackey, he's not a right side defenseman. You do think, do you think, and Daryl talked about this a little bit in the preseason, I think the loss of Eric Gudbranson is going to be I think it's going to be more of a significant loss than people think. Just was thinking about the Columbus Blue Jackets podcast that was talking about Gudbranson as well, and what a good acquisition that was for them. It's an expensive price point, but the loss of Eric Gudbranson, I think, is still going to hurt the Flames a little bit here. But so as they get started into the year, as for the lines today, it is Lindholm, Huberdeau, Toffoli, Kadri, Dubé, Mangiapane, Backlund, Coleman, Lewis, Rooney, Lucic, Ritchie, and Ruzicka, the 13th forward. Defensively, Hanifin, Anderson, Uyghur, Tanev, Zadorov, and Stone, and Mackey with Balash on waivers. So Mackey looks like he'll be the 7th defenseman with Markstrom and Vladar in goal. So the Flames start their regular season against the Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche on Thursday. We will be doing a Flames pre-game podcast, by the way. Preview and looking at that. That is the plan at this point. So, and by the way, on the course, you still got Oliver Shillington, Emilio Pettersson, and Martin Prosmosel as injured non-roster players. So Oliver Shillington dealing with personal stuff. We'll just leave that for where that is at this point in time. And the other thing with the Flames, a couple of other things here. There was some talk yesterday on Flames Twitter that they were going, because there was an announcement coming today that there was expected to be a captain named. Daryl Sutter said that they won't name a captain to start the season. He said that today. He said Backlund and Tanev are the closest. There's no need to name one. There's no clear-cut one. He called Michael Backlund and Chris Tanev co-captains and talked about something demanding to be a captain in a Canadian market. I do think that that's an interesting thought process there on that as well. So no captain at this point. Blasty Jersey has returned as a retro jersey. They'll wear it 12 times, including against the Florida Panthers, including against the Columbus with Batu Chichuk, including against Johnny Gaudreau and the Columbus Blue Jackets, and as well against the Bruins, the Maple Leafs, and Minnesota Wild as well. So 5 of those teams. So we'll see Blasty returning as well. So that's the news with the Calgary Flames. As for the Vancouver Canucks, well, couple of interesting things here as we look at their opening roster here. First of all, some interesting names on there. Of course, you're dealing with the injuries to Ilya Mikheyev, Travis Dermott as well as there. And but you're getting some good news here. First of all, they put in the first ever perfect salary cap. No one in LTIR, according to Cap Friendly here, and they spent their cap space to the maximum amount, perfectly utilizing all $3.5 million of LTR available to them from Michael Furlan's contract, leaving them with $0 of cap space right now. So there you go. For those that are into the cap, looking at the cap, that's a good move here. So the opening day roster for the Canucks that came out yesterday as well. Of course, you got Travis Dermott, Tyler Myers, and Ilya Mikheyev on the injured list. The forwards, Neil Zaman, Brock Besser, Connor Garland, Niels Höglander, Bo Horvat, Dakota Joshua, Danila Klimovich, Kuzmenko, Lazar, Miller, Pearson, Pedersen, and Podkolzin. Defense, Burrows, Ekman, Larson, Quinn Hughes, Tucker Pullman. We'll touch on Hughes here in a second. Jack Rasmussen, Luke Shen, and the newly acquired Riley Stillman, acquired this weekend for Jason Dickinson in a trade and a draft pick as well. So Thatcher Genko, Spencer Martin in goal. Now, lines for the Canucks ahead of them heading off to the Edmonton take on the Oilers. They look like this. You got Miller, Pearson, Besser, Pedersen, Kuzmenko, Hoglander, Horvat, Podkolzin, Garland, Amon, Joshua, and Lazar. Mikheyev is in a non-contact jersey. Defensively, Hughes, Rathbone, Shen combination, OEL and Pullman, Stillman, and Burrows. So probably will be the opening day lineup somewhat here for the Vancouver Canucks. So Besser back. That's good news. Quinn Hughes was sick, but he's back. Non-COVID related. He's back as well. Sending their way off to Edmonton is there. So that's looking like the lineup there. So probably looking a little bit more healthy, injured but healthier, a little bit more healthier than we thought heading into the year there as well. So that is that part of it there. Let's just quickly look at, by the way, tomorrow plan is to do a Canucks preview podcast ahead of the Canucks game against the Edmonton Oilers. Some other things just to look at here. Looks like John Tavares is going to play in the opener against the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow, with some question about his health here as we go through the injuries here. He sustained an oblique injury on September 24th in a preseason game against the Ottawa Senators. He centered a line with Dennis Malgin and William Nylander, but he's expected to play. Some other injury notes here. Kyle Okposo is expected to play Thursday in the opener against the Ottawa Senators. He wore a regular practice jersey on Tuesday after wearing a no-contact one on Monday. He was standing on a line with Rasmus Asplund and Zemgus Girgensons. For the Devils, Nico Hischier returned to practice Tuesday, but remains questionable to start his season because of hamstring strain, and they opened the season against the Flyers on Thursday. And then you got Derek Stepan, another PTO, signed a 1 year, $750,000 contract with the Carolina Hurricanes as well. A couple of other interesting opening night things. Yuri Slafkovsky is expected to start the season with the Montreal Canadiens, as well as he will start 4 rookies on the Canadiens roster. I have to get Joel Godet on our podcast here. He's on a line with Christian Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher. They, of course, here. So that's and he's the first pick in the NHL 2022 NHL draft. The 4th pick of the NHL draft, Shane Wright is on the Seattle Kraken's opening night roster here, as well as he will start the season there with the Kraken. Matty Benier here, he's on the 4th line, but he's on the team here, so that's Shane Wright will start, as well as Logan Cooley with the Arizona Coyotes will also start with the here in the number 3 pick. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, we got Nicholas Hague. He signed a 3-year contract with Vegas, as he 14 points. The deal runs 2025, 2026. It's 3 years, $6.88 million. 14 points last year, as mentioned. 4 goals and 10 assists in 52 games last season. 10 goals, 32 assists, and 142 games in his career. And the WHL, some WHL news to tell you about here as we're getting into as this regular season to start. First of all, the WHL Player of the Week is Connor Roulette. He had 8 points in 4 games for the Saskatoon Blades, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points. Connor Unger Wuxia Warriors. Is goalie of the week, 3 games, 0.80 goals against average, and 9.79 save percentage. And as well, there was a few trades today in the WHL here involving the Red Deer Rebels, and the Tri-City Americans. So Tanner Gould from the Raiders to the Americans for a 7th round pick in the 2026 prospects draft is one trade. And we've also got a few other things happen here. It was a busy day for trades in the WHL here as the season's getting underway here. We've got that trade. We had the Americans traded Dwayne Jean Jr. to the Red Deer Rebels. Was a request from Dwayne Jean to be traded closer to home. Tri-City will receive a 4th round pick in 2024. The Regina Pats have acquired 2002 born defenseman Tanner Brown from the Red Deer Rebels for a pair of draft picks, and Carter Anderson has been acquired by the Prince Albert Raiders in exchange for defenseman Taylor Gilsonson and a conditional draft pick. So it's a busy day of trades in the WHL as well. And of course, the CHL rankings are out in Winnipeg Ice are ranked at number 1 in the CHL there as well. And we've got the Seattle Thunderbirds ranked at 4, Kamloops Blazers number 5, Portland Winterhawks number 7 in the top 10. So 4 of the 10 top 10 is from the WHL, and the Rebels and Everett Silvertips are in the honorable mention. So 6 teams from the WHL in the upper echelons of CHL rankings. But that will do that for the news today. So again, to recap, as here for tomorrow, a Vancouver Canucks focused pregame podcast ahead of the Edmonton Canucks and Edmonton Oilers. Thursday, a Calgary Flames focused pregame podcast ahead of the Flames playing the Colorado Avalanche. And then we'll go back to our regular schedule. We're still working out our schedule as I'm working out my schedule as well with the new job. So, but you can follow us all individually. Sean is Beardy Connect 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Christian Schneids, SCHNEIDZ, Devin Gordhouse 09. I am KAVULE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. We thank you for watching and listening, and we will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.